It is now October, so that means it's officially spooky season, and it also means that I can show you all the photos that I took in September. And there are a good amount of photos this month, which is quite nice since this series has been lacking for the past few months. There are also some interesting photos in this video, so those will be fun. But we'll get into those later, as for now, the first photos that I took this month were of my nephew. He had just a few days before lost one of his front teeth, so I wanted to document this special moment. He was busy playing with his toys, so I didn't have loads of time with him, and I only managed to get him to stay still for about a minute, so the photos aren't great, but I do still like them. I used my Fujifilm GFX 50S, and I used the Mamiya 45mm f2.8 lens, and I think that was the right lens to go with. I could have used the Mythicon to get that extra separation and shallower background, but I think the 45mm was the right one to go with since I can get closer to my subject. I really like taking photos like these, as although they may seem like small moments in the grand scheme of things, that's a pretty big moment for my nephew, losing his first big boy tooth sort of thing. He's going to grow a tooth that's going to come in and it's going to be like staying with him for the rest of his life. So, I like to document those small moments that are, big to him and, big to his family. Like, I remember when I was losing my front teeth when I was younger, I remember one of them just dangling on by a thread, and it was just the most, excruciating thing ever. It didn't hurt, but it was just, excruciatingly annoying because I was too scared to pull it, but it was just so loose and dangly and yeah. But anyway, the next photos that I took in September were actually part of my latest video. If you haven't watched it already, then I recommend doing so after this one. But this video will show you some extra photos that weren't in the previous one. So these photos were from when I went to Wheel Coats to test out this cheap, weird plastic panoramic film camera. It's not a true panoramic film camera, as all it really does is crop your 35mm negatives, but it still does produce images that look panoramic in some sense. While using this panoramic camera, I was also using my Fujifilm X-T4 to get some videos, but I was also using it to take some photos. So I will first show you the panoramic photos, and then after that I will show you the X-T4 photos. Like I mentioned, I was also using my X-T4 to get some photos, and I really wish that I used it more this day, as the lighting was just spot on and the colours were beautiful. I only took 7 photos while using my X-T4, but all of them turned out quite nice. These photos show one of the things that I love most about Fujifilm cameras, the film simulations. They are just absolute quality, and if you get the right film simulation in the right environment, it can just elevate your photos to a completely different level. While other cameras do have JPEG recipes that you can use, none of them compare to Fujifilm's film simulations. I also feel like other cameras can produce super realistic and accurate images of perfect renditions of real life, but I think film simulations can capture what it looks like to you and what it felt like to you in that moment, which I think is super valuable. The next shoot that I done in September resulted in probably my favourite Instax wide photo that I have taken so far. Using my Intrepid 4x5 and the Lomo Graph-Lock Instant Back, I was able to capture this photo of Jen when she was having a lie down just after work. I like how the lighting and contrasting colours look in this image, and I think the depth of field just makes this image look so unique compared to other Instax wide images. In a way, it sort of looks kind of cinematic, having the wide format, and then this incredible depth with these nice colours, and sort of a soft look to it. It looks like it could be a scene out of a movie, like a dream sequence or something. Before we get into the last photos that I took in September, I completely forgot to say I also started studying to become a teacher. And the first 2 weeks of doing this was filled with me getting behind the scenes photos of the second year students on the photography course doing their set build school. When I was on the course doing the set build school, my class decided to do Matilda, and more specifically the scene where she makes cereal using her powers and there's like that floating milk scene. We decided to create that with set build. I don't think I have the final result anywhere, but I do have this photo where if I zoom in you can see the image that we took. This was also the first time that I ever used a large format camera, and if I can find the images that I took on that, then I'll include them in the video. Anyway, as I was saying, I was taking behind the scenes photos of the set build. And the second years decided to do their set build on Saw X or Saw 10, as Halloween was right around the corner. I don't have loads of images from these 2 weeks as I wasn't in every day, but I do have, some images showing the process of everything being created, and I have quite a few from the day of shooting. And it was incredibly fun helping out with the set build and getting these images, and it was really nice to see some students interested in what they're doing, like they were really interested in the lighting, in the product design, the images that they were creating, and they actually created a really good final image, and I'll include it here. Yeah, I think this is a great set build, and they've done an amazing job, and yeah, I had loads of fun. And finally, for the last photos that I took this month, I was experimenting with some unique large format film. I was actually given some X-ray film by Simon back in August, and I finally got round to using it. I had recently got a new bike, and to mark the occasion I wanted to capture some photos of my first day using it. And that's when I crammed my backpack full of my large format setup, hopped on my bike and went to go get some photos. And after setting up my composition, I took my first shot. The exposure time for this photo was half a second, even wide open at f5.6 with some bright sunlight, and that's because this film has an extremely low ISO of 3. It means that this film has practically no grain, but it also means that because of the exposure times, I can't really shoot this film in the way that I was gonna, plan to shoot it, doing portraits and stuff. Anyway, I set up my second composition and I took another shot. I wanted to get a shot of the model name of my bike along with my helmet, and although the shot has turned out okay, I'm just not that big of a fan of this film, and it's just super limiting with how low the ISO is. But I am excited to experiment with this film more in the future. Anyway, that's the last photo that I took in September, which means that this video has come to an end. And I hope you have liked the photos and have enjoyed this video. Feel free to like, comment and subscribe. It'll be really cool if you do, but do whatever you want. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.